But check out this headline from the Daily Mail. It reads, "Who invited party pooper Romney?" That's just one of the headlines here today. Another reads, "Mitt the Twit." He has been trying to dial all of this back again today. He was on the Today Show with NBC's Matt Lauer. Take a listen to how Mitt Romney tried to characterize his new outlook on the game.
Absolutely convinced that the people here are ready for the games, and in just a few moments, all the things politicians say will get swept away because the athletes finally take the stage. The games are about the athletes. That's why the games, virtually anywhere they've been, have been highly successful.
And in many ways, that's the message that Mitt Romney was hoping was going to come across during the course of these days. Instead, he's on the defensive here as he and his wife Anne prepare to head to the opening ceremony this evening. Anne will stay behind here in London. Her horse Rafalka is competing in the dressage event. Romney leaves with us on the back of the plane, heading to Israel tomorrow, and then on Monday, Richard, to Warsaw, Poland.
All right, NBC's Peter Alexander with Governor Mitt Romney. Thank you. Let's bring in Matt Welch, editor-in-chief of Reason magazine, and Shira Toeplitz, political writer for Roll Call. Good morning to you both. And Matt, you were kind of chuckling along the way as you were listening to some of the setup here for this segment. And I guess no matter which way you look at this, you do have to kind of chuckle at what has happened with Mitt Romney so far. But this was thought to be a slam dunk for the governor. And so some folks are asking, is he ready for the world stage?
Well, it's definitely a bunch of unforced errors. I think that in the long haul, no one's going to be talking about this. If Romney loses by 1 percentage point in November, no one's going to bring up the Olympics, I don't think. But it's a series of unforced errors, to be sure. And, but I think it's going to be as forgotten as Obama's trip to Copenhagen in 2009. And you're already saying, what trip was that? But he went to get the Olympics for Chicago, and he ended up looking kind of foolish. It's just a matter of, we're going to come back to what this election is about, which is going to be the economy ultimately.
Emmanuel, say we're at halftime, right? 100 days to go. Halftime.
First quarter.
Yeah, first quarter is what you're saying. Okay. Shira, to you, it's more than just the Olympics when we are talking about these gaffes. I want to play another clip that's gotten Romney in a bit of trouble. Take a listen.
I appreciated the insights and perspectives of the leaders of the government here and opposition here, as well as the head of MI6.
Now, Shira, in the backdrop here, just Tuesday, a day before he left, he criticized the leaking of national security information related to the current administration. But as you saw there, here he is, he's discussing Britain's international arm of its Secret Service, which was not even officially acknowledged until 1994. So, some 82 years after they began. So does this take away his ability then to criticize Obama on foreign policy?
I don't think it'll take away his ability. He's still probably going to criticize the president, or his advisors will criticize the president about these leaks that have allegedly come from the administration. But I think the problem here for Romney is he took this trip to reinforce his foreign policy bona fides, and a gaffe like that does not do that. It counters that effort completely.
Okay. And Matt, to you, he was also speaking with what might be called the equivalent of Speaker John Boehner, and he couldn't remember his name. And as opposition leader in Parliament, that was another issue when he couldn't remember Ed Miliband's name. Now, when you take a look at that, will that hurt him in the long run? Should he become president of the United States?
It probably won't hurt him that much. It certainly doesn't make him look good. I mean, let's remember 2008, which was much closer to September 11th than we are now, was not fought on foreign policy. It became about economics. Romney right now is trying to go to basically our strongest allies and make a hint that Obama has bungled some of those relationships. There is a critique to be had there. He's lost all ability to talk about that critique. However, I just don't think that's where the election is going to be fought right now. So ultimately, it's fun to talk about for a couple of days, but we're going to forget about it.
We are watching that point right now. It is relevant as we get closer to the debates and when he does make that key speech at the convention. But many will say, as you are saying here, Matt, that is not going to be the key issue. It's the economy. But Shira, to that point that he's making, when we look at the latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, the question was asked, who's best to handle foreign policy, and there's a 15-point gap. Will he be able to, Governor Mitt Romney, make up some of that space there if he can turn it around after he leaves London?
Probably not. I think his trip to Israel is in part to help his image with the Jewish community, especially back here in America. Obviously, Poland is one of our allies as well. But that is a large gap that probably he would not overcome until he was, perhaps if he would be, elected president. I think that gap is fairly sizable. But let's remember, this was one of the knocks on President Obama when he was running for his first term in 2008, that he did not have the foreign policy credentials and he would not have that experience. It's part of the reason why he picked Joe Biden, who is known for his foreign policy expertise in the Senate, as his running mate.
All right, Shira, Matt, stand by.